resistance is actually a good sign because it shows us that we're at that expansion point. So I like what you said about how when you have a schedule and you're meeting that schedule, there can be some additional resistance because you're doing something beyond what you're normally doing in order to accomplish that. Yeah, so that's what's been happening for me with this project. Yeah, for sure. I've had it. It's been happening in a couple of ways. My first focus was to just get on the camera and have nothing planned and just speak from there. I did that, and now I'll continue to do more of that. And my second one was to create a video that has my voice talking about my ideas with whatever graphics that I put up. And so now I've done that couple. I just finished one, just the audio part, just before this meeting today.
Cool. What are you putting on as the visuals? I love it.
That's the question. Visuals. The first one I did had a picture of me sitting on a
Where was that?
very high ledge.
Where was that? Do you remember where it was?
I think it's over the Grand Canyon or one of those big, huge horseshoe style. Yeah. And
I was so nervous. I was shaking. I couldn't take his picture, and somebody there took his picture, and it's a really cool photo.
Wow.
Yeah, because
like you're like almost falling off the
Yes.
cliff. Oh God.
well, it's probably the
Where'd he
closest
go?
one I've ever done.
Wow.
Anyway, it's a cool.
And there was a little bit of wind too. And as I was like
That's why I was
inching
really
my
nervous.
way to the edge there, I was like, oh, I better be careful here. But somebody took a picture and it turned out really a nice picture. So I just put that picture up and then had some audio, like frequency wave things playing and the words coming up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I took these pictures of some friends from New Zealand at the Grand Canyon. There was this ledge, and there was a 4-foot drop, and it went out like that, another 15 feet, and actually went down forever. And so they just sat on that ledge, and I just angled it so it looked like they had their feet hanging over the edge.
Oh.
And it was just right. So you can make it.
Yeah, this was real and scary. So
So when you say the words, is it like a transcription of what you're saying or words that you wanted to go with the video?
Well, it's interesting you ask that because the one that I did finish today was a conversation that we had together.
yeah.
And
His
you
best stuff comes
asked
out with our members.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
you asked me a question about the breath and
Yeah.
how it, well, you just asked me to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I did, and we thought it sounded pretty good.
Like tidbits of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. That is so cool. And so you're pulling out these really things for all your people forever. You know, just to look back, that's so cool. My friend's doing an AI video search. So once you get a library of these little clips, your students can type a question and it can pull your pull from it. So it's called Soul Guide, and it's basically a video vector AI search chatbot. It's pretty cool. But I love that. Cool. I think the hardest part is like marking that stuff to deal with later or whatever, but maybe like after your classes, you can just note like, oh, that was a great part. Even if you don't get to it right away, it's like you knew that on that day, like at 20 minutes after you said something cool.
So this is an interesting part of this conversation, I think, is that we've done hundreds of meetings and we've
never thought of
always
this
said,
before.
oh, we had some good stuff in that one and this and that. And years have gone by like that. even recently, there were several where I said, oh, that would be a good one. And then we're saying, yeah, we'll do that one. And then it didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Well, we're always so busy.
Well, so
But I haven't become, I'm more busy than I was when I was saying those things. So this is the point, that this project has
I like them.
inspired me to
Do it anyway.
find a way to step up and do it, even when it's usually not that seen as having time for that.
I see. Yeah, you make time.
So I see it as it's more about the consciousness, expand the consciousness, because it was my consciousness that expanded first on this subject, because we decided to do this project with a purpose. So it's like, that's when the expansion begins. And then the resistance shows up. So I just think that's cool.
We did a dream machine thing last night, and Adam's 2 wishes were to experience unconditional love, give unconditional love, and expand consciousness. It's pretty cool.
So, there was another video that I was called to make, guided to make, my intuition for a long time. So the one I already did, right, where I said we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
I did that, and the other one is to do the same thing with one of our members. And I've been talking about this for years, and I've talked about it with our members, and I always have members raising their hand saying, I'll do it with you. And then either I never schedule it, or a couple times I did schedule it and then canceled it. And it's like, never have done it yet until this past Monday. And so I did it with one of our members, and it was the same thing it was the same with me. I had the focus that it would be the same, where we would just connect on Zoom. We would do a short guided self-connection. We'd be in our body, just be present. One of us would start talking, and we would just have a conversation. And when I felt like it was complete, I would stop it. And then in my imagination, we would do 3, and we did 3. And it was just as beautiful, where I stopped, no editing, I stopped and we did it. And it was like, really lovely to have that type of spontaneous, grounded, connected connection with someone, and to feel so natural and good about it. And so that was on Monday, and on Sunday, so much has happened, even from just doing that very first one, just like I imagined it would. My guidance has been telling me for years that when I can finally do this, that's going to give me so much energy. Sunday, I did spring cleaning. I mean, the floors and everything, and my body was moving. There was no thought, and I'm like, what is going on? It was really wild, and so great to have all this energy that I feel has come from saying yes to doing this project, and from doing that first video, and things just keep opening up. And yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I haven't felt that much energy in like a few years.
That's so cool. It's like you're on track, so you can relax.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm above it all now.
Yeah.
I mean, energetically. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. Everything's good. I got this.
And after I did with Maria, I did some one-on-one sessions that I do for deeper work. I do these life clearing sessions, and my voice is more powerful, and I feel like my energy in these sessions, and I'm like this was my theory, that when we allow our voice to be heard, and we speak, that we get more energy, we get more connected, we get more dialed in, we start taking spontaneous, inspired action without even thinking about it. Yeah. So I've only done a few, so imagine. The more we do, I feel the more we do, the more energy. I mean, isn't energy great? It's like, it's so good to have a lot of good energy because then we naturally take the action, and things just get done just with ease. Yeah. I'm feeling powerful.
There you go.
That's so cool. That is so awesome.
Yeah,
That's like beyond my wildest dreams outcome. Like, and that's totally cool.
I'm so happy to finally be in the place where I've done it and I can do it and I'm doing it and it's easy. And I feel like I'm in all possibilities now because we're the creators of our own reality. We create with our voice and we allow ourselves to speak our divine voice. I mean, that the new mind flavors is certainly adding to this too. Living divine truth, listening to living divine truth is really getting me in alignment with living my divine truth, which is speaking.
Okay.
Woo! That is so cool.
And I've been the happiest, of course, right? Like I'm feeling that like joy again. That is so good.
That is so cool. That is so cool. And that's like
Yeah.
how cool that you tie it even to ease and grace. You're like, it like I would love for it to be for us all to be living in ease and grace. It's like even beyond just the first hurdle, which is so great. And that's so cool because getting more energy, like that's so cool. I was like, this is like related, but like in a statistical way, I was telling Adam, I'm like, I would love to pay Nico to create videos on certain topics that we think he would be interested in, just to exercise his brain. And he loves economics. He'll still have chores, whatever, but it's like worked in if you want bonus track with like chores, whatever. And just to say, like, pay him more for the first one that he has to do. Like the first video, you're gonna get $20. And the next one is $5, you know, but it's like, or whatever it is, because it's so hard to start things that we are scared of. You know, or whatever, or the time hasn't been right for it to birth, you know, or whatever, you know, so it's just like.
I had so much resistance on Monday. Talk about the resistance. So I will say that I didn't feel like coming today. And we weren't hearing from you yet. And I was going to email her and say, we can just cancel today. If Sheela can't make it, it's all good. And then when I got to the email, she had already responded that you can make it. And I'm like, all right, well, you know, it is meant to be, and this is good. And we have been consistent so it's so good. But on Monday with doing that for the first time, of course I had the resistance because I've never done it before. So I'm learning to really see that when I have the resistance, to see it as nothing, because it's nothing. It's just energy, and it's only there because we're about to do something great. And then it's the same. I used to get the same feeling because I used to do theater as a hobby, and you know, getting on stage in front of everyone, I would always feel that. But once you're there, you're in the flow of it, and it's the same with the conversation. And you know, so if we just remember that the resistance, like you say, it's a good thing. There's gold behind that resistance, so let's just get the gold. Yeah,
But congratulations, like fully, like this is like major. This is so cool. This is like so cool that you feel like so much is behind you. That's so cool. And then you can redo this version of this idea a million times, the million clients. I love looking at things like that are just different series. There's this one that you do in this and this one. I love repeating it and seeing all the angles, because when you publish a healing of one person, it often has to do with everyone, you know. Like it's like, oh wow, that relates to me, whatever you're, because they're the all, we're all the all, we are everyone. So it's like, it's always valuable when people show up in authenticity. And that's what you were also saying, like besides everything else, it's just fun to show up authentically with people. It's like a load off. Yeah. It's like a load off.
Oh my gosh, wow. It's been so beautiful to watch your transformation. It's like such dramatic shifts each time. And it's just such beautiful thing to witness.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah, and on the topic of resistance, I was just thinking about like how I was dividing the types of resistance into two different types, like negative resistance, which would be like, you know, just something unexpected. But then I started getting the positive resistances. So like positive synchronicities, positive distractions, like, you know, something I was trying to manifest, you know, in that moment. So it's like a whole new level of distraction where it's like, oh, I was trying to manifest the situation and now I'm getting pulled into this and away from this, you know, video project. So it's interesting having to surf those waves and try to stay grounded and centered in the original intention without getting swept off. Because I feel like once we get into this flow of, you know, expressing our voices and generating all this energy, it literally increases our magnetic field. And so we start magnetizing in all this stuff. And so then we just have to learn how to mitigate mindfully our energy account bank balance. But because that was happening to me, and it's like clockwork. It's so funny. Like I'll be right in the middle of working on my video, and then I'll like one of my neighbors will come over and be like, "Hi," and I'll be like, "Oh," like my field was just so strong that it like attracted my neighbor to come in, and that kind of thing was happening a lot this past couple weeks. But yeah, I did manage to make one video. So I did skip 1 week, but I did it kind of on like Sunday, so it was like in between. So but I was working so hard on it that I felt like all the energy was like moving it forward. And because I was just like being a perfectionist on the script. It's like I want to just have all the information in here properly so I can just, get it all in, I was being a perfectionist. So so and then I just had people staying over, and like it was hard to mitigate the time frame for that. But yeah, it was about vocal toning, which relates to what you were saying as well about the power of the voice to strengthen the electromagnetic field. And so I had a device in the video of an oscilloscope that would sing into, like, "Ooh," and you can actually see the waveform of the voice and how like chaotic or coherent it is. And then the more you do it, the more coherent it becomes. And the more coherent your own energy field becomes, more magnetic and clear and coherent the radio transmission that is your body becomes. And I was having crazy synchronicities with this manifestation practice. Like, it's scary. But yeah, it's the whole video explaining a process of manifestation by becoming a human radio, by doing a pure sine tone with your voice, and then thinking a coherent thought over and over again. So yeah, it was a fun journey working on that video. It was so much fun. So yeah, and then I was also gonna do like a short one afterwards just to like, catch up. But I plan to have like both formats, so like the slightly longer one, which it was about 15 minutes or so, and then maybe like a 3-minute one where I'm just doing like an oscilloscope, quick little like, oh, let's look at this combination of numbers and what geometry it generates kind of thing. So yeah, I like the idea of just of having multiple formats as well. But yeah, that was my experience.
That's so cool, and it's good to do it right then because it's all fresh and you know what you're doing, so it's like, okay, like put out the 3-minute. I love that. I love that. So cool. So cool. And that's so interesting so it would be cool to put someone on a brain device too to see what brainwave they're in while they're singing. And my question to you is, what did you wish for? If you want to share.
I was doing it so many times. It was like, I mean, just basic things like green juice. Like someone would come and bring it to me. Like I would start with little things, but it was the synchronicities. I'm trying to remember more. Like I had a few synchronicities that were just like off the charts. And it had to do with that, like when you strengthen your magnetic field through your voice, it strengthens like your internal resonance chamber and the like antenna that is sending out the transmission of that vibration of what you emanate by your thoughts, actions, words. And I just kept tapping into that, and I was like saying it over and over again on the video. And so then I noticed, for better and for worse, like I watched a video that was like violent, and then I like had that dream. So I was like, I have to be so careful with what I put into my field at this point, because I'm just becoming this like master manifestor mirror amplifier when I do these practices. And it was coming a lot to me in dreams, like everything that I would think about during the day, I would dream about it. And yeah.
So fun.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that video.
Yeah, yeah, you can see it's like a little circular blob, purple blob, and I'm like, ooh, ooh. And you can see it moving. It's really cool.
I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the excitement thread, share any videos that you put into your thing so we can, because yeah, like I want to see your thing too, like so cool. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to see all your
I would like
guys'
to finally take
videos.
time to see everybody's again.
So this is like this, I love how like the research is central of like what is heaven on earth or what is lucid living. Like what like okay, if we're babies at manifesting, like understanding that our inner worlds are outer world, we're manifesting everything and getting control over the manifestation, not control over it, but like, always creating what we want, more of what we want, so or what we want to experience or whatever you want to say. But it's like, so you're saying, so it would make sense if we weren't that good at that to have times where all you would need to do is use a technique that's going to
Mhm.
amplify to say, I'm sure of it. This is what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
Like I want green juice, like
Mhm.
my body's wanting green juice or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and then I like just playing around with that. It's interesting.
Mhm.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you mean though, about your dreams and your day life, and what do you think is the connection between your dreams and your dream life?
It's just like a scary level of correspondence at this point where like every single little thing I look at, images, videos, like I'll have this epic dream about it, things I talk about. And it's getting to the point where like I really just I can't focus on anything negative at all. Like not at all.
Good,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Like,
good.
yeah, because I'll immediately see the repercussions of that coming through like in my dream. Like I said about the violence, like if I was watching like a violent scenes from a movie, then I would literally like replay that in my dream, that violent scene. So, yeah.
I oftentimes people talk about it the other way around, like they had the dream, then they experienced the reality, and then there's another way to experience it where you basically go, oh my God, I was paranoid about this. And all of a sudden, you meet the guy that says the thing that whatever, it's like you see why certain friends contacted you about what topics, because those were the topics that were clicking pushing your buttons emotionally, paranoia or not, and so you're right. It's interesting. So Tim Robbins, we were just reading this book, Awaken the Giant Within, and he says, go on a mental diet for 10 days. And if you ever think sabotaging thought that is unempowering to yourself for more than like 10 minutes, I don't remember what it was,
It's 10
then you
minutes.
have to start counting again to your 10 days. So you're filling your thoughts with empowering, supportive, loving thoughts. And when you're not like, oh, I don't know if I can do that or whatever the thought is,
So if you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm gonna miss the train. If you keep thinking that, because you can do that and then say, oh no, I'm gonna think positive. And that's fine. But if you think that I'm gonna miss the train for more than 10 minutes, then your whole 10 days starts over.
or is, I don't
Yeah,
remember
it
what you
was.
said, but yeah.
So what
something
you're
like
trying
any
to do
negative
is-
thoughts that are disrupting. your
You're
life,
attempting to get through an entire 10-day block without having gone
hanging on, because it's okay to
more
feel
than
it.
10 minutes.
In fact,
You
it's
can have
bad
the
to
thought.
not feel it, because then it like builds up. So you want to feel all your pain and paranoia, but
And-
just not hold on.
And so I'm gonna just say to you, like, it's because you're having it afterwards, then there's that period of dreaming sleep that's just organizing information. So anything you put in, you're gonna review because you're gonna go, do I dedicate this to long-term memory? Is there a lesson? And do I dedicate it to long-term memory? And if the answer is no, then you dump most of the details as far as keeping it cognizant. So it's not one's not causing the other in the sense that it would be like if you were dreaming it and then it was happening, then you probably want to watch out, right? Because you're manifesting forward. But in the experience of examining dream stuff, then it's just review. So it's correct that
It
you're
happened.
going to review stuff.
Mm.
You're going to review anything that happens that day.
Yeah, it happened like both ways actually. I
Yeah.
just remembered.
Okay.
Where
Like,
you dreamed and then it happened.
oh, yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I want to say it out loud, but like I literally like had a dream that I like was bleeding from my leg. And then the next day and I told people about it. And like the next day I got injured there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have told anyone about it because the
Yeah.
act of telling was
Yeah.
probably like,
Yeah.
manifesting it. And then some people were like, no, it was already going to happen. You just had a premonition of it. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's like lovingly hold it and go, oh, honey, Zenka, I know that totally scared you.
Mhm.
Okay, it's like a cloud passing the whole meditation. You know, it's like you just notice that you're the part of you that's your body and
Mhm.
your like operating system was like really like bothered or whatever, you know, or anything. And so it's like a compassion, but it's also like letting it go because if the more energy put in, the brighter it becomes, the more it attracts to that.
Right.
So it's like you say, it's like our, you know, that's why you can spiral down into fear and dark nights of soul, you know, at some points because the fear just grows on one another and you go there and you end up experiencing it in your life. You know, your thoughts actually create that. So it's like, and you get stuck in that loop. But I mean, I just think there's not enough people in this world, myself included, that are thinking about what we want to happen. Like, what do we actually want to happen?
Where'd you get cut?
On my leg right here.
Were you wearing pants?
Tights or
Tights.
yoga pants, yeah.
So if you had worn some thicker pants, you think you could have prevented it from happening?
I mean, it was a weird story. I was like running up the stairs for like a phone call about having to do with money, and the dream was also having to do with like me chasing money and getting injured. And so it literally manifested the exact same way my dream did, where I was just like, I was running up the stairs to get this phone call because I was like chasing this
Money.
this like money that was not like aligned with my sole purpose. I was literally working on a video while this happened. I get a phone call and then I run upstairs, and while I'm running, I just tripped on the stairs and I banged my shin here.
So I was just saying, like, you could take it several ways and then start the
Mhm.
test from a precognition. Then it might have worn like cowboy boots that day or something, you know,
Right.
that would protect that area to the maximum.
Yeah, that would have been a good
And then just
protection.
then if it happened, then it was like,
Mhm.
huh, okay, that was a nice precog.
Totally. Yeah.
But
But if it was
these
like
fundamental
got
lessons.
underneath there and cut you anyway
Mhm.
because you were wearing boots, then
Yeah.
you kind of made it happen. But you begin to gather more data.
But it's yeah, and it's these decisions. It's like I agree with you. Like your alignment, if you hold it strong enough, everything is provided. So it's kind of like what you're saying. Like the ideal is really to be in your authenticity and get paid to do that.
Mhm.
Because that's the ultimate holy grail of like life. It's like provide for yourself while you're doing what you love or whatever,
Mhm.
right? You know what I mean? So that's cool. I mean, that you saw the lesson, it came in real life, not with many consequences. You know, it's a
Mhm.
toothpick instead of the 2x4.
Mhm.
And so it's cool
Mhm.
to experience like whatever your soul's trying to tell you that doesn't seem obvious to you, because
Mhm.
not a lot seems obvious. This world is so crazy.
I had one that was a lot more than a toothpick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Along those lines, I had a dream that in the dream, I just was awakened from a black SUV coming right at me. And it shook me. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then 1 week later, I think, it actually happened. I was at the time learning how to program my subconscious mind, and I learned that we go through different cycles and the phases through our sleep, and the venting is at the end. So when we're dumping that stuff, it's usually at the end. If it's during the prophetic, then there's a good possibility you're tapping into that no time everything's now type of perspective. And the other interesting thing was, so it was with my friend that we were in the incident, and it was pretty serious, but we were still able to function, but we didn't work or do anything at all, just recovering. And then